What is going on, my fellow comic book readers, collectors, and enthusiasts alike? I'm your host, Alt, here at Control Alt Defeat Comics, and today it is Tuesday, which means another Top Tuesday. And as any of you who have been following the channel know, I have been counting down my top 10 comics released of the year by the big publishers. So Marvel was last week, and this week we have DC Comics. That's right, today I'm going to be counting down my top 10 DC Comics from the year 2025. And I'm really excited to get into this video, so let's not yap too much. We are not going to have, just like the last one, we're not going to have any honorable mentions or anything like that. We are just going to get right into number 10. And number 10 on this list is going to go to Batman Deadpool. That is right, the Batman and Deadpool crossover comic from Marvel and DC, particularly the DC side. I really enjoyed this. It had a lot of really cool covers. The stories were phenomenal. And I just enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with this. And you know, there probably were a few other things that could have potentially gotten on this list instead of this, but I just thought it was a fun little one-off issue. And I mean, I'm a big fan of these like kind of crossover things, and it's been so long since we've gotten one. Obviously, we did just get the one a few months ago by Marvel, but I mean, you know what I mean. It's been so long prior to this, you know, new set where we've gotten crossovers, and I just really enjoyed the stories. And this had some really amazing creators behind it, too. G. Willow Wilson, Grant Morrison, James Tynion IV, Joshua Williamson, Scott Snyder, Tom Taylor. And it was so much fun. And that is why it has got to go at number 10. But that's going to bring us to number 9. And number 9 is actually going to be another single issue series. This came out in October. This is Superman Red, White, and Blue 2025 special. This was such a fun read. This was Dan Abnett, Paul Dini, Rainbow Rowell, all on writing with art and writing by Michael Walsh, actually. He did art, writing, and lettering. We also got a good amount of other artists on this book, and it was just a lot of fun. I thought each of these stories within this were just a lot of fun, a lot of good to read, really wholesome Superman stories, and yeah, I just really enjoyed it. Now, again, these are kind of like self-contained little one-off stories, so it could have been higher, but there are just so many things that are coming up on this list that are just so good that I just couldn't put this any higher, but it was a lot of fun, so I couldn't make this list without talking about this issue. Moving on to number 8. And my number 8 is finally going to be something that is not just a single issue. It's actually a 5-issue miniseries. And the last issue of this comes out tomorrow. But right now I can only really review the 4 that are out. We have got Superman, the Kryptonite Spectrum. This is a really fun book. I really like this is the team behind Ice Cream Man, W. Maxwell Prince, Martin Moranzo, and the art in this book is phenomenal. The coloring is great. The story is a lot of fun. And I've just had a lot of fun with this series. Each issue has been really enjoyable for me, and I cannot wait to see this last issue drop tomorrow. I can't wait to read it. And I'm really hoping that it's going to be as good as the previous 4. If it's as good as the previous 4, if it really does tie this series in a nice little bow, then it is going to be something phenomenal. And honestly, if I was doing this list after this final issue came out, this could end up higher on the list. But for right now, it is going to land at number 8. And that is going to bring us to the next one on this issue, and that is going to be our number 7 slot. And that is going to go to Absolute Green Lantern. This entire series started April 2nd, so all of this is released this year. There are currently 9 issues out, and I just finished issue 9 the other day, and I've got to say, this story is so much fun. It is. I love Jo Mullins as a character. She's been a lot of fun. Her story has just been great. I've loved a lot of the art. Al Ewing's writing is as phenomenal as it always is. And who's the artist? I'm not sure how to pronounce the artist's name, but they do such a phenomenal job with the art in this book. The coloring is phenomenal as well. The story has been great so far. Issues 1 to 9 have been a lot of fun. I really enjoyed the start, the way this entire story began with what they did with Hal Jordan. And I am very excited to see where the story continues to go from here. So, yeah, that is, I had to drop this at the number 8 spot because this story has just been way too much fun, and the coloring is great, and frankly, I am a very big fan of Green Lantern in general, so, yeah. And as you're probably well aware, this is not going to be the last time you are going to hear about the Absolute Universe on this list. But that was my number 7 spot. We are going to move on to number 6. And number 6 is going to be a run that started and finished this year. And that is going to be DC X Sonic the Hedgehog, the DC Sonic crossover event. This story was a lot of fun. Excuse me. Writer Ian Flynn with art by Adam Bryce Thomas, colors by Matt Herms. This was so much fun to read. I loved it. I mean, I'm a big Sonic the Hedgehog fan and a big DC Comics fan, as you're probably obviously aware. So, of course, I was going to love this, but I was still blown away by just how much fun I had with this book. And all 5 issues are great, honestly. All 5 issues are a lot of fun. The ending, honestly, leaves off in a way that we could definitely get a continuation, and I believe we will. But it's still a very satisfying ending if we don't get a continuation. It's not like it leaves us in a place where, we have to. But it was a lot of fun. I love Darkseid in this. I'm a big fan of Darkseid as a villain. I really loved the comedic back and forths between the Flash and Sonic, and them having this rivalry of who's the fastest. I thought that was a lot of fun. And in general, I just thought that this series was a lot of fun. So that is why it is at my number 6 spot. But that will bring us into the top 5 from DC for 2025. And at number 5, I told you it wouldn't be the last Absolute, we have got Absolute Superman. So, technically speaking, it is issue 3 on that has released this year. Issue 14 will be dropping on December 24th, so not this New Comic Book Day, but the following New Comic Book Day. And the storyline has been a lot of fun. It has really ramped up a lot, I've felt, and I've really enjoyed these past few chapters, or issues, rather. So I'm very excited to see where it goes from here. We have got the creative team. It's Jason Aaron writing with Rafa Sandoval on arts. Phenomenal. Phenomenal team, phenomenal work on a absolutely amazing book. I mean, pun intended, this story is just great. I cannot get enough of it. Every week that it comes out, it is always right up there near the top of the pile, if not the top of the week. And that is why it had to get my number 5, my first in my top 5. Moving on to another Absolute comic. And another Absolute comic that actually started this year. We're going to Absolute Martian Manhunter. That is right. I actually put Absolute Martian Manhunter above Absolute Superman. And the main reason for that, Javier Rodriguez. Javier Rodriguez. Your art and your coloring is next level. I love it. It is such a phenomenal story. The colors just pop at you in such a great way, and it's just so fun. It's just so fun. I can't begin to describe just how incredibly good this story is. It's trippy. It's super trippy. And it's like kind of psychological in a way. And it really makes you think. And I really love that about this story. Dennis Camp is doing such a good job on writing, but Javier Rodriguez's art is just insane. It is out of this world. And that art alone is what landed them in my number 4 spot. Moving on though to the top 3. This was so hard to choose. This top 3 was so difficult. So unbelievably difficult. But I had to put DCKO on this list. Now, let me preface that with saying this is including all of the tie-in comics as part of DCKO. Now, I know some of you will disagree with that. Whatever, it's my list. Ultimately, I think they each are contributing very heavily to the story, and I think, overall, you need to talk about a lot of those when you are talking about DCKO. But the actual event itself, Javier Fernandez, Alejandro Sanchez, phenomenal. That's just a cover artist, isn't it? Javier Fernandez is the cover artist. The actual creator is Joshua Williamson and Scott Snyder, right? Yep, Joshua Williamson and Scott Snyder are the creative team on this one. Javier Fernandez is the cover artist, excuse me. Sorry, I'm reading the information about these on the side here, so that way I can, have that info up. But the story is so much fun. This, attempt after Darkseid has transcended into this god level being, he is now basically corrupting all things, and the DC heroes have decided to in order to combat Darkseid, they need somebody to empower themselves with an equivalent amount of Omega energy as Darkseid and become the King Omega. And in order to do that, they do this big tournament. They do this big tournament, essentially. And it's been great. It has been a lot of fun. We've got 2 issues out right now. We've got a good amount of the tie-in stuff out right now. I think, let's see, there are 18 issues out right now, if you count all of the tie-in stuff as its own individual thing. I think that is also including like all the prelude stuff, the prologues. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I'm enjoying it quite a bit. I can't wait for it to continue. And that is why it's on my number 3 spot. But we've got to move on to number 2. And what is better than DCKO? You thought I was done with the Absolute Universe? No, of course not. This is Absolute Wonder Woman. Technically speaking, only issue 4 and on have released this year. And each of these issues have been great. And it's consistently getting better and better. Our next issue drops December 24th, and I could not be more excited to read it. I believe our next issue is our Absolute Batman crossover. Sorry that I keep yawning throughout this video. It is kind of late while I'm recording this. I'm actually pre-recording this the day before, so yeah. Anyway, Absolute Wonder Woman is... The story has been so good so far. I've loved every issue that we've gotten from start to current. And it's been a lot of fun. Our next issue drops on the 25th, and I cannot wait to read it. Our next issue, I think, is our crossover with Absolute Batman. And so far, it's just been great. I love the hellish imagery. I love the kind of, like, dark and, like, demonic sort of imagery that we've got with this book. I love how much of an absolute badass this version of Diana is. She's so cool. Her arsenal of weaponry and her arsenal of magic and everything about this woman is just... She's the epitome of cool. And honestly, it was really, really hard for me to not put this at number 1, just because this story has been so good. Now, I'm a sucker for mythology. I'm a sucker for hellish imagery and this kind of, like, you know, like big swords and whatnot. I love that shit. So, this book was made for me. But I loved everything about it. I loved every second of reading this, and I cannot wait for my next issue. That's number 2. Moving on, though, to number 1 on the list. Drum roll, please. You already guessed it. It's Absolute Batman. Of course it's Absolute Batman. Absolute Batman is peak. It is so peak. It is such a good story. Such a good story. Scott Snyder is such a great writer for Batman. And Nick Dragotta's art is also just great. I loved... Every story arc has been phenomenal. All of our characters have been great. This story has made me almost, like, cry multiple times from the interactions with Wayne and his, like, friends from his childhood and the way that things have come. And it's just been great. Every issue, I mean, the imagery is grotesque. It's like body horror to a new level. And that is something that I absolutely adore with this. Like, it's such an enjoyable, fun ride. And I'm so grateful to be able to be on that ride. The most recent issue that just came out here was the Joker issue that came out on the 10th. And, whoo, buddy, let me tell you something. That issue was great. I also cannot, in good conscience, talk about this talk about Absolute Batman without talking about the absolute goated issue that was the Absolute Batman Annual. Daniel Warren Johnson is one of, if not the greatest comic writer in the game right now. He's phenomenal. His art is great. His writing is great. And I really loved, we've had, I think, Mike Spicer on coloring on that issue. And then there was, who was the second writer on that? James Herron was the other writer on the second story. And the second story with the priest was also really good. However, the primary story with Daniel Warren Johnson was peak. It was absolute peak. And this story was just so much fun. I cannot express how much I have loved Absolute Batman. It's such a different Batman from what we're used to. But at the same time, there's plenty of similarities to our Bruce. But he is holistically his own character, and I've loved that aspect of this story, that this Batman is his own character and is sort of just such a badass. Again, I hate to just repeat myself from Absolute Wonder Woman, but this Absolute Batman is just such a badass character, and I love him so much, and I cannot get enough of this storyline. Every time he takes on a new villain, I'm so excited about it. And like, let's just talk about the elephant in the room that was Absolute Bane. Oh my gosh, the Absolute Bane story arc was insane, and I'm so happy that that story was as good as it was. I can't give it up enough for this book. I loved it. I loved everything about it, and that is why it is my number one from DC Comics for 2025. And that is going to be the end of this video. That was my top 10 DC Comics of 2025. If there's any comics that you think that I missed, something that I may not have read, that you think I definitely need to read, that deserves to be on my top 10, let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, drop a like, leave a comment, or subscribe. Any kind of feedback you guys can leave my channel is greatly appreciated. I would love to sit down and have a conversation with you guys about comic books. It is my passion, and if you're watching this, I imagine it's yours too. And so I would absolutely love to chat about comics. I am really looking forward to it. Until then, thank you for checking out this channel. I will see you tomorrow for New Comic Book Day. Have yourself an awesome day, an awesome week, and I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.